Hello there everyone, I'm Ben Rowe from WhatCulture.com and joined today by Kirsten once again to talk about some Resident Evil stuff. How are you doing today, Kirsten?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm loving the background. Very in theme.
The Umbrella Corporation is always with us. But no, today we've had some new sort of like leaks from a playtest of Resident Evil 8 Village or Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, however you want to call it at the moment. We don't know. And it's just like a nice follow-up from the video we did last month where apparently the game wasn't coming to PS4 Pro and Xbox One and anything else of that ilk. But the playtesters played on a PS4 Pro, which is quite interesting to say that maybe we'll get I guess, what would you call, is it past gen version when we go ahead? We're going to get the younger version. What do you think this means? Because they were first saying that Resident Evil 8 couldn't come to current gen because of what they were trying to do with the bigger environments and the enemies and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very strange that they would play it on something and then basically just retract that and say, oh no, we can't do that now. But I mean, the only thing that I can think of is I'm guessing it's not 100% ready at that time, and that's why they're sort of saying like, oh, it can't be on current gen, and just kind of trying to. I mean, I know that everyone's trying to push like the next gen consoles and stuff anyway, so maybe they're in cahoots with someone and it's just they're trying to sort of be like, no, try and get them all to get it on the new console and not the old one. We're trying to get away from that. Yeah, it's a little strange. It's a little strange that it would come out and say that it can actually play on, yes, past gen, but then not actually allow you to do that anyway. I don't know. There's something going on there.
Yeah, and there was a bit in here about the enemies as well, and they pretty much described sort of like the standard half sort of like I'm a zombie-ish looking guy, but I can probably have some intelligence with a bunch of people with rotting flesh. Tattoos on their forehead, so maybe secret cult. I still think that this whole game is going to be based around an abandoned Umbrella facility that either some people that worked there are now taking advantage of, or new people have come in, and this is how some people think they are witches, because even though we'll get to in a moment that they describe them as witches, I do not think that magic or anything of that sort of thing will be in Resident Evil. Going through what is interesting though is that the playtest wasn't in the village, hence the name Village. They were thrown straight into the sort of castle environment, and just reading through the descriptions of like just like nice lit rooms and sort of like grand areas just seems to me like a Resident Evil 4 style kind of area. And I don't know about you, but do you think they're trying to harken back to Resident Evil 4 so much with the villagey parts, the villagers, and obviously the castle? What do you think there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after I realised that what I was watching when I first saw it was Resident Evil, when I went back and watched it, that straight away was the vibe I was getting, was Resident Evil 4. They definitely seem to be going down that route, like I said, with the village and the castle, and the fact that they seem to speak like a different language, which kind of sounds like, I think they were saying like Spanish or Romanian, like they're not 100% sure. So it definitely has a RE4 vibe to it, like 100%. So I don't know if they're kind of working off of that, or they're just taking a lot of inspiration for that, or if it is somehow connected. I don't know, but yes, it's definitely got a Resident Evil 4 vibe going for it, and they are 100% playing off of that.
And we should also mention that just going back to enemies, there were no werewolves in this playtest demo thing. So far they're not revealing them. I think the trailer that we get in it's going to be a couple of weeks is probably going to dive a bit more into. We're going to get a few longer shots rather than like a couple of frames of big werewolf man and scary witch women eating Ethan's fist. Going to scary women, people. Olga. Olga. Sorry, mad dyslexic here. Olga is was featured a fight with her, which might be the first boss fight. I mean, it's going to be in the castle, so I would like to think that there's probably going to be a few more big lads and that man with a hammer you're going to fight. But the Olga fight seems to be a pretty big part of this demo, and she could basically do sort of a Resident Evil 6 where just turn to goo, disappear, and reappear other places. And she seems to be commanding bugs like I can't remember her now, but the wife from Resident Evil 7. She was terrifying. Hopefully she doesn't literally pull bugs out of her and throw them at you. The stuff of nightmares there. But what seems to be important here is that she does come across as if she's using magic again, and I don't believe it. I think it's just going to be some sort of like virus thing, which I'm not crapping on, but I'm just saying just another virus, because that is Resident Evil. But I don't know. Do you have hopes that Oglin is going to be some sort of secret magician woman and saw Ethan in half and go da-da?
No, I agree with you. I think Olga is... I think, like I said, I think because where they are situated, and I think a lot of what is obviously happening is due to a virus, but because the village is maybe old-fashioned, maybe it's sort of like 18th century supposed to be, or maybe they're like sort of Mormon, I don't know. They're clearly sort of like in a part that maybe they're not technically advanced, so to them it seems like witchcraft, it seems like magic, but I agree with you that I think it's obviously going to all be down to some sort of virus that is giving them some supernatural powers, and it's very interesting that they are, this Olga witch lady is kind of, like you said, sort of going back to Resident Evil 6 as well as 7, sort of mixing the goo and the insects. So it's weird that we're starting to sort of see past viruses kind of like making a reappearance. So it'll be interesting to see as to, is this like an old virus? Is it sort of mutated from an old virus and sort of intertwined with a new one? It's very interesting. It seems like they're sort of recalling a lot of past games here, which is really exciting.
I don't think Capcom are quite ready to bring back the C virus just yet. Yeah. And I don't think fans are either, but if that comes back, let's not have the giant squirty person that squirts loads of purple mist out. I should also say that now the website, I should have said that, relyonhorror.com, this is their source. And they also do claim that you can stay hidden from Ogle, is it Ogle? Ogla?
Olga.
Olga, I promise to get right at the end of the video. So this might be another section like in Resident Evil 7 where Ethan could creep past some of the more like the bigger enemies. I'm forgetting the whole family name now. Welcome to the family,
I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. It's gone.
But if you do get spotted by her, you then have to fight off the insects that she commands. But what is interesting here is like you can use an actual like a flame torch to fight them with like a fire, a bit of stick with a fire, a stick with a bit of fire on the end. And that goes into some of the other things mentioned here with the weapons, that yes, there's going to be a pistol in it. Of course there is. There's going to be a shotgun in there as well because it's a Resident Evil game. An unbreakable knife, which is great because as great as Resident Evil 2 Remake was, I was a bit upset that until you completed the game a few times and got the bonus knife, you couldn't have an unbreakable knife there. Yeah. Even though it was integral to like the defense mechanisms. But they mentioned that you can pick sort of like melee weapons around from the environment. Hence why I think this is what the torch is going to be like, but like an axe or something like that. But these break. What do you think? This is very sort of like survival. Like this is Resident Evil going more into those survival horror style games that everyone sorts to watch on Twitch and YouTube and things like that. What do you think? Are you happy that the breakable weapons are going to be in here now? Like weapon degradation for me, I hate it, but if it's for temporary weapons, it's fine. So what do you think there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like having the unbreakable knife is good because the knife is such a signature of Resident Evil games, and I agree with you when I realised that in the remakes they did have like an integrity to them. It was like, oh, for goodness sake, like that was the one thing like you could always rely on in Resident Evil games, and to take that away is just so frustrating. So I'm glad they have that. But yeah, like I agree with you. I don't mind knowing that a weapon's going to wear away if it is just a weapon that you are just kind of picking up or crafting or something, as long as it's not, you know, your shotguns and your pistols and stuff, and you have to constantly you know, redo them and sort of customize them in order to kind of get them back to where you want them to be. Just random weapons is fine, but as long as we've got our unbreakable knife, then I'm happy.
Are you also happy that Olga? I was doing a bit and now I've broken my brain. Are you happy that Olga once being shot, we should have prefaced at the beginning, this is minor spoilers for sections in the game. Once being shot, this is your chance to leave now and then come back after you've played the game, which is going to be in like 6 months' time. Olga turns into a giant spider, which...
yeah, spiders don't bother me, it's the moths. As long as there's not a giant moth person, then I'm fine. That's fine.
See, for me, it's always been flies. I hate the buzzing sound. But turning into a giant spider and then sort of like shedding her human remains and leaving it in a pile of black goo, which I must preface that any series that can keep black goo going, just love the black goo. Black goo is so mysterious. We need it in all our sort of like biohazard sort of scares. I'm quite happy about the giant spider just because I miss the giant spiders as enemies in Resident Evil games as it is, as ridiculous as they just looked. It just looked like an upscale spider. Do you think there's... So now that she's going to turn into spider, the other women that we have seen, the witches, do you think they're all going to be various bugs or more spiders, or what do you think they're? Because we also should say we have seen someone transform into a werewolf, so I don't know. There's possibilities are basically endless.
Yeah, I definitely can, now that you've mentioned that, I can definitely see how the other witches would probably transform into something else. Whether it will be bug related, I don't know, because like I said, there is the werewolf man. But yeah, now that you mention it, I could definitely see them turning into bugs. I just, please don't let there be a moth person, because I won't be able to do it 100%. I will be giving it to my partner to complete that section. I just cannot deal with moths. So as long as they're not that's fine. You know, any other bug is fine. But yeah, I can see bugs happening now. Thank you for that, Ben Roy.
Let's segue onto some crucial part though, because the inventory was mentioned. So the source from, I shall just check the website again, RelyOnHorror.com said that the inventory wasn't the same as the one shown in the special message. So that seemed like a knocked up sort of like quick thing just to get the audience's like appetite wet for like more information. But it seems here that it's going to be like the Resident Evil 4 inventory. So Tetris is back in Resident Evil, I guess, but with the coat of paint of the new sort of remakes. And also enemies at this point didn't, because you will be picking up items around there and obviously twisting them around. They did notice at the moment that enemies don't drop any items at all. It's the standard break the same box that we've seen in the past 8,000 games and some vases. And then even more, I'm going to keep going from the inventory to the mysterious woman that we've seen in the trailer, which has now been sort of like mentioned upon by the source. She doesn't seem to be an enemy, and she's dressed in robes and feels like a merchant because she has many goods to sell. So what do you think there? Do you think we're going to get a return to we're getting a return to the Resident Evil 4 style inventory system and a merchant?
It does, again, it has such a Resi 4 vibe to it, 100%. So yeah, when people are saying like, oh, it's got, you know, the Resi 4 inventory system, and now they're saying about a merchant, it really does feel like they're kind of going off of Resident Evil 4, definitely. And yeah, that's what I thought when I saw the old woman. I 100% thought like, yeah, she's clearly the merchant character, or she's the little side character that's going to kind of push you in the right direction and give you hints and stuff, or maybe like a special weapon every now and then. Yeah, that's 100%. It's just, to me, it's just they've taken so much from RE4 that it just wouldn't surprise me that they would put a merchant in there. Ooh.
I'm here for a merchant. I would love to know, as someone who has written tens of thousands of words on this series, what happened to the actual merchant in RE4? What is he doing? Is he just a stranger somewhere in Europe? Like, I mean, we're back in the same continent. He could get involved. That could be his wife. Who knows?
That could be. Who knows?
So, just some more things. Dusk Golem mentioned has been mentioned about this game as well. A prolific sort of like RE leaker on Twitter. Go give him a follow. He's great. Has mentioned along with the source that this game is still very much a work in progress, even though it's slated for next year, and there's still placeholder VO. Apparently some sections are being chopped and changed and switched around, and yeah, it seems like it's running hot. Like it's probably going to be finished like a month. Like we hear stories like of The Last of Us and Last of Us 2 where the game was finished properly in about a month before the game came out, so things could change. And as interesting as that is, I've also been kind of like, there's been one last thing that we need to mention that caught my eye, which is now, I don't know about you, but I tend to like love platinum some games, especially ones I care about. Love getting the platinum. RE3 was a bit easy, so I might admit there, but it seems that they're adding another difficulty mode to this game, which I'm scared of, called the unfair mode, as developers and producers have been calling it, where it will add like 3-4 times more enemies, and it's just like, Why would you do this to me? What do you think about that? Are you ready for unfair mode?
Oh no. I think I can manage to probably get through like medium, possibly hard. But for me, I just get too frustrated. I don't like losing. I like knowing that I can actually get through and finish a game. And knowing that in the back of my mind, I'm never going to be able to like complete a game it kills me. So to know that there is a mode literally like named unfair, it's just no. That already is just like, don't do it, Kirsten. Don't do that to yourself. Like, it's never going to happen. So yeah, that doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. But I'm sure to people like you, you'll take the challenge.
I can't wait to go through it, and hopefully maybe in VR as well, because they did mention that this game will happen in VR. But that is basically everything that we've had from this latest leak from the source at relyonhorror.com, and combined with some of the Dusk Golem tweets. So yeah, this is just another update just to let you know stuff that is sort of murmuring in the background from testers, and I'm hoping for a new trailer very soon to reveal a bit more. Why did Chris shoot Mia on the floor? We need to know this. Is Ethan gonna just get ruined at the end of this? Who knows? But for now, I've been Benroy. You can follow me at Benroy Turner on Twitter, and I've been joined by Kirsten, and you can follow her on Twitter at
Kirsten Rea with 2 A's.
And until next time, just keep eating those Jill sandwiches until we get another update.
Indeed.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.